mind, gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls is one of the Sustainable Development Goals, one that we should all strive to implement. And as Katie Clark has just stated, we must also use whatever mechanisms we have at our disposal to tackle misogyny. I too regret the Scottish Government's decision to drop the planned misogyny legislation. From its inception 8 years ago, the National Advisory Council on Women and Girls has been a wise and prescient, as well as brave and visionary body. Its members, including, of course, the brilliant, compassionate and much-missed Emma Rich, realised that progress would need mechanisms of accountability as well as substantive changes. So one of the Council's recommendations was that Scottish ministers deliver an annual statement on gender policy coherence, followed by a debate in the Scottish Parliament. It may have taken some time to get here, but we have the statement in the form of a report and we have this debate, and I'm grateful for both of these. I think it is commendable that the Government, in its motion for this debate, has not sought to boast about achievements or make excuses about shortcomings, but simply to note the statement and let us talk about it. And with the same dignity and respect, most opposition parties have refrained from submitting amendments to make political points and set the debate on the path of division and conflict. Most, but not all. Once again, our few opportunities to talk about the real and structural barriers to the well-being of women and girls, of families and communities, of generations living and those to come, our tiny slivers of time for conversation and progress are to be dominated by the discourse of transmisogyny. Let's be clear, of the social and economic oppressions, institutional and structural injustices, participatory and intersectional shortfalls experienced by women and girls, absolutely none are inflicted by transgender or non-binary people. On the contrary, the poisonous rhetoric of prosperous so-called gender-critical activism damages all women and girls, trans and cisgendered. But back to the Council and its practical, trans-inclusive, intersectionally aware, robust and transformational feminism. It was created as a catalyst for change. That change isn't always comfortable, and it's certainly not always easy, but I think we recognise today with bitter experience that it's more urgently needed than ever. Gender equality is not a zero-sum game. It isn't about dividing the cake differently, but it's about baking an entirely different kind of cake, one that benefits men, boys and non-binary people, as well as women and girls. It provides radical, sustainable and compassionate alternatives to misogyny, exploitation, injustice and violence. Violence in our homes and schools and streets, in the homes, schools and streets of Gaza and elsewhere, in the bleak destruction of climate change, in the plans and profits of a resurgent war machine. The Council produced 21 recommendations with ongoing, sensitive and meticulous work about how those recommendations can become real. The Scottish Government, to its credit, has accepted them all. If fully implemented, they would transform Scotland for the benefit of everyone, perhaps most of all for those children in poverty on whom our attention continually returns. In my closing speech later, I'll address some of the ways in which we are moving forward towards those goals, that gender policy coherence, and some of the ways in which we can do so much better. But meanwhile, on behalf of the Scottish Greens, I really do welcome this report and the motion, and I wholeheartedly reject the culture war games that I fear we might get into later on this afternoon.